Hare Krishna.
Welcome to our ISKCON Punjabi Bagh YouTube channel.
The purpose of ISKCON Punjabi YouTube channel is to bring in front of you daily the beautiful darshan of the Lord.
Melodious kirtans,
Daily discourses,
daily guidance,
upcoming new festivals,
and much more.
So therefore, please stay connected with us. For that, you have to click the subscribe button
And press bell icon.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Was this class advertised? Yes. Yeah? What time was it advertised to start at?
1 p.m.
1 p.m., really? Okay. My schedule says something different. But we're here. Hare Krishna. Nice to be with all of you again. How many of you were here, was it last year when I gave the class? Pretty much everybody, huh? Wow, you have longevity in your Brahmacharya ashram here. Not just people coming and going, they actually stay. That's very nice. I'd like to start out with maybe if we could do a review from last year. If anybody remembers any of the points that I brought up about integrity last year, just to see if there was anything that particularly actually struck you and stuck with you over 300 and not 65, maybe 60 days or 50 days. Is there anything that anybody remembers from last year's class? Remember what it was about, right? Please.
Integrity means honest with ourselves. Being honest with ourselves.
Integrity means to be honest with ourselves. Yeah. It's an important thing, and when we're honest with ourselves, then we don't mind taking feedback from other people. Please.
Self-respect comes from within and not from others.
Self-respect comes from within and not from others. Yeah. Is that what you said? Self-respect comes from within and not from others. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when we hold that integrity, we're not expecting others to give us something, and then we can actually live without expectations, which is what the third verse of Shikshastakam is about. Not expecting respect. Yeah, but it's there as a foundation, but not expecting it. Please.
We don't make perceptions, but we leave it out.
I'm sorry, say it again.
When we see something, we cannot, rather than judging someone, we leave it in a doubt. Maybe he is doing this because of,
Yeah. Instead of making judgments, be curious. Yeah, what's happening here? What's going on here? Because our judgment is just a little perception, and we have no idea maybe what's going on for that other person. You said?
Integrity of special vows.
Integrity is?
Special vows, what we take.
Our special vows that we take, yes. Anybody else can remember anything? Please.
You started with the definition integrity.
Uh-huh.
Very many devotees tell different definitions of integrity.
Uh-huh.
And one of the definitions that I remember is that Satyaji told that to be honest with our own self.
Yes, and to be true to yourself. So there's the level of integrity. The first level is just being basically moral and honest. That's a certain level of integrity. He has too much integrity to take a bribe. So that's a certain level of integrity. Then there's the integrity where we do what we say we're going to do, when we're going to do it. We keep our word, and we honor our words as ourself. And we honor what we say, and we keep that word. And then we honor other people by honoring our word. And then the deepest level of integrity is really knowing oneself as a part of Krishna and really being true to that self, and then acting from that self in interacting with others. If I'm really true to my real self, what would I say in this moment? And then maybe giving a pause and then being able to practice, really operating from a deepest level of integrity. And it's a foundation. Integrity is a foundation on which to create workability. So integrity isn't necessarily right or wrong, but when we keep our word and when we honor our word with others, it creates such a platform of workability. Now, had I known the class started at 1 o'clock, I would have been here at 1 o'clock. I want to show you my schedule. But I felt like, oh my gosh, I broke integrity. I didn't know it was at 1 o'clock. I thought it was at 1:30. But so for me, really honoring the integrity of my word is so important, because maybe all you people were up here waiting for me, and you know, like, where is she? And I want to honor your time and honor, you know, what we're creating here. So yeah, integrity creates a platform of workability. And remember, the last leg of Dharma is truthfulness. And right now, Dharma the bull only has one leg to stand on. So if we don't have truthfulness and we don't have integrity, we have no leg to stand on. So there will be many breakdowns and upsets. So that's a review from last year. I'm so glad that you have remembered so many things and really took them into your heart, and I'm sure you took them into your practice. And has that made a difference for you over the last year? Can anybody say that putting that into practice has made a difference in their exchanges? Can anybody think of any circumstances where they feel that maybe you even just feel better about your activities? Maybe not. Yes?
At least I notice when I break integrity.
When you break integrity, you're noticing when you break integrity. That's a big first step. Because usually we're just like totally unconscious. It's like, I spaced out, I forgot. So it's good to even notice when we break integrity. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot I was telling I was going to do something and I totally forgot about it. Yeah, and then you can, you know, run and do it to remember when we forget. Very nice. So, thank you for the review. I really appreciated that. That's really nice to remember what we got and keep it in practice. And now we want to add some more things. So, today's topic is called Die Before We Die. Was that advertised? No? Am I supposed to do Die Before We Die? Is that what you want me to do?
Yes, I communicated that to Shri.
There was a breakdown somewhere. Is that an okay topic if we talk about Die Before We Die? So we started a little bit yesterday with the disappearance of Lochan Das Thakur. That kind of made me present to how the passing of persons and special persons in our life affects us. So I'm wondering, do any of you have any close friends or family relatives that have passed away? Do any of you have any friends or families, relatives, parents, or brothers and sisters that have passed away? So, okay, almost everybody has had somebody pass away. Okay. Were any of you there when the person passed away? Has anybody ever been present when somebody has passed away? You have been present when someone's passed away. Okay. So I'd like to begin with, first of all, us getting present to what it means to pass away and how that leaves us feeling and what we go through being left behind. So who would be willing to maybe share their experience of how they felt or what they went through in either finding out that someone passed away or watching someone pass away? Like, what kind of went through your mind and what feelings or thoughts came into your consciousness at that time. And if you just close your eyes for a minute, you may not really be present to them right now, but I'm sure if you close your eyes and you just think about that person and you think about remembering when they passed, you might become present to something that you felt or thought at that point in time. Would anybody, did everybody kind of get in touch with something? You need some more time, or would anybody like to share kind of what they felt or thought at that time when that person passed, or when you watched them pass, or what thoughts went through your head? Would anybody like to share? Please. You were fearful. You were fearful, thinking, did he go back to Godhead or not? Did he go to the morning program? Did he chant his 16 rounds that day? And did he go back to Godhead? Yeah, you were fearful. It was a friend or a relative? Okay, so a devotee, okay. Anybody else want to share what they thought or felt at that point when they recognized about someone passing? Go ahead.
Some pain of separation was there already.
Pain of separation was there personally. Was it recently? 6, 7 years ago. Was it a family member?
Yeah, my mother.
Your mother. Some pain of separation. And you were there when she passed. Were you a devotee at that time?
No, just got connected.
For me, I feel like it's really, it's passing in itself is pretty intense. What to speak of if you don't have really something to hang on to have some kind of an awareness of what's going to happen. Or what happens afterwards. It's a little more scary. So yeah, so pain of separation was there. Yeah. Something very real that you felt, palpable. Yeah? And what about you?
Well, life is very uncertain.
Life is very uncertain.
I'm in the very gross illusion.
I'm in gross illusion that I think that it's going to just keep going on and all this, whoa, what happened? Yeah. It's can come at any moment, and we hear that and we read that, but we don't think about it too much. Please.
Disbelief. I could not believe.
Yeah, it didn't really happen. No, they're gone. Yeah, disbelief, and that's part of the whole denial thing. Like, how could that happen? You know, in the class, I think it was the other day, somebody was asking me, how could you not believe that Prabhupada was going to leave? And I was like, because he had been sick before, and Krishna brought him out of the sickness. So we were just thinking Krishna would just save him. He's Krishna's pure devotee. Why would he leave? Especially now, we're so young. We were in disbelief. Yeah, that could happen. Anybody else have any feelings or... Please.
Later I thought that urgency to become Krishna conscious. Anytime one can.
The urgency to become Krishna conscious. Yeah. At any time, at any moment. So every time I get on a plane, I always, before I come to India, I always say farewell to everybody like, oops, I'm sorry. Like it's the last time I'm going to be seeing them. But it's interesting because death doesn't just happen on airplanes. Sometimes when I'm driving in a car, I'm thinking, I'm going 60 miles an hour here. If anything comes in front of me, suddenly I could be gone. Okay, Krishna, if this is my last drive, that's up to you. But at any moment, we can be walking and trip and fall flat on our face. I had not a close relative, but my somebody's cousin. They just walked down the steps and they hit their head on the ceiling and died. It's like anything can happen at any moment in time. Now, we're not having this conversation to scare anybody. It's not that we want to make anybody afraid, but certainly we all have fears inside of us. We all hold fears, we hold questions. So while we're alive, now would be the time to start kind of like maybe looking at our fears. What are our fears about dying? So maybe you could take 30 seconds to think about maybe what would be your concerns or fear about dying. Just take a few seconds to think about one thing. What are your fears about dying? Does anybody want to share what fear they might have in regards to dying? You're really invested, huh? What would you like to share?
Pain of dying.
The pain of dying, okay. The pain of dying. That's an interesting point. Sometimes we have this conception, interestingly enough, that we're kind of just going to like lay down and kind of like fall asleep forever. Seriously. I had a godbrother just this year who had 4-stage lung cancer. And he came to New Vrindavan to die. And he was staying in one of the rooms in the temple. And I did my best to, help him in certain ways, but I didn't have a lot of time in the summer. Luckily, he didn't pass away in the summer. But it was almost as if he just thought he was just going to chant. And he hadn't been following real strictly before he left. So when he came, he started reading. He read all of Srila Prabhupada's books, and he started chanting again. But it was kind of like there was a conception for him that I'm just going to chant, and I'm in the right place, I'm in the holy dham, I'm going to chant, and I'm just going to leave my body. But about a week and a half before he left, I have been at probably 7 passings already. So he asked me, what's going to happen? What's it going to be like? He was scared. So I told him about some of the people that I had been with, and the experiences that I saw. And for me, what I see in passing away from this life, it's kind of like, well, none of you ever had a baby, but it's kind of like being birthed out of your body. So birth is a very painful process, both for the mother and the child. You're being squeezed out and into a world that is foreign to you. You're coming into a whole new place. And it's very painful. So to me, when I saw my husband leaving his body, there was a lot of suffering. He couldn't breathe very well. And it was as if he were being born out of his body. The soul was leaving the body. So when we leave the body, what are we leaving? So that would be, what are we leaving when we leave the body? Excuse me?
Soul leaves the body, body remains there.
I know, so what are we leaving when we leave the body? What things are we leaving behind? Besides the body?
Everything connected with the body.
Everything connected with the body. Can we have some specifics? It's nice to be more detailed, please.
Relationships.
Relationships. We're leaving behind relationships. Good. Write that one down. Can somebody write that on the board? Relationships. Thank you. You'll be my official writer. Relationships, okay. And what else do we leave behind? Please. Experiences. Thank you. What else do we leave behind?
Mental speculations.
Mental, let's put like mental attachments. Let's put mental attachments.
The experiences go with the person because the subtle body goes along with it.
Well, relationships, experiences may or may not go with you. It depends on what we're talking about in experiences. Mental, what do we put? Mental attachments. Okay. Okay. Opulences. Okay. I thought I saw another hand here. I thought I saw somebody else raise a hand. Did you raise your hand? What? We forgot something.
Comfort.
The comforts of yeah.
Also the sufferings of the world also. We are leaving the sufferings of the
We are leaving the sufferings of the world, of the present body. There's something else that nobody touched upon.
A state of uncertainty where we are living for.
Say again?
A state of uncertainty where we are living for.
A state of
Uncertainty.
uncertainty. So we're leaving uncertainty behind?
Where we are going to.
Okay, well, okay, that's another issue. You can put that on the side in a different color. Put uncertainty in a different color. That's a little bit of a, we're going into uncertainty. What are we leaving behind?
Temporary nature.
Temporary nature. Okay, so go ahead.
Maybe our unfulfilled dreams and aspirations.
Unfulfilled dreams and aspirations. Okay, that can go in the red color or whatever color. Unfulfilled dreams and aspirations. What else goes along with the body and the mind that's subtle? Hi, what? Desires, okay. There's something else. What are we covered by? What are the layers of covering? Thank you. We're leaving behind our identifications, our identity that we thought that we were. And we're moving to a place where we have no idea what's going to happen and who we're going to be. I think that's a huge one. So, did you put that one down? Identity, yeah. Our positions, our services, all the things that we identified with. I am the temple president. I am an author. I am male or female, whatever. Yeah, I'm a brahmachari. Thank you. I'm a brahmachari. That's an identity. Yeah. Yeah, we're leaving behind all those identities. So it's a lot to leave behind. Especially when you're going to a place where you have no idea what you're going to be or how you're even going to be that or how you're even going to function or operate. So these are all things that we currently have right now. So what would help us to leave these things behind in a peaceful way? What would help us to leave these things behind peacefully? So let's take relationships. We'll take them one at a time. Relationships. So we have relationships with our family. That's, there. We have relationships with our friends and our associates that we live with, companions. We may have relationships with, Friends, family, and associates. Those would be the main things I would say. And our relationship with ourself. So, what makes it hard to let go of relationships? Or what makes it, what might we regret if we're leaving behind a relationship? What regrets might we have? These are some pretty deep questions. I hope I'm not challenging you too much. But what regret might we have in leaving behind a relationship?
If you might not have properly followed that relationship.
I may not have said what I needed to say in the relationship. I might not have actually honored that relationship in the way I could have honored it.
So I'm leaving some bad feelings.
Yeah, thank you. And that creates like a, kind of like a tearing at the heart, because I can't repair that anymore. It's like, it's too late. So, and you know, they say that when you leave your body that, you know, your whole life passes in front of you. Have you ever heard that? When you leave your body, your whole life passes in front of you. Well, guess what? Your whole life is passing in front of you right now. And it's passing in front of you slow enough so you can actually do something about it. So now, this is we have this life, and we're taking up Krishna conscious life, which means we're intentionally preparing ourselves for leaving the body, right? We want to remember Krishna at the time of death. We want to leave our body as clean as we can. So, in our life now, what relationships do we have where we may have friction or upsets, which if we left this body this week, we might feel, I should have said something, I should have apologized, I should have, you know. So why don't you think, if you have a pen and paper, write down names of people, or you can write them on your phone, or people that you might have something to say to. Something like a gratitude, an appreciation, or if it's your family members or your parents, thank you, and I love you, maybe. I don't know. We don't say that too much maybe in India, and brahmacharis certainly aren't allowed to say that, but maybe we might want to say that to our parents. You know, if we felt that we were going to die before them, they might want to know that we love them. It might like actually help them. So just things and people, and then any upsets that you might have. So if you write down the names of a few people and maybe some things that you might want to complete and clear up. So take a minute or two to write those things down. Think about that. This might be a hard exercise. Is it a hard exercise? Are you guys willing to do it? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to think of some too. Write down 1 or 2 names or 3 names, and then maybe a little note, and so you can remember later on. Did everybody get at least 1 name? Did everybody get 1 name that they wrote down? Anybody not have 1 name? You don't have any names? Okay, thank you for being honest. Do you have any names? No? No names? No names? Do you have any names? Everybody have a name? Who does not have a name? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So thank you so much for your honesty. That's integrity. I really appreciate that you can say that you don't have any names. Now, there may be many reasons why you don't have names. Maybe you're complete in all your relationships, and there's nothing you have to say. Word is a scary word, so I can acknowledge that. So I appreciate your being honest in that. And whether you like it or not, you do have relationships. You all have parents, or you have had parents, and that is a relationship. And it's an important relationship. We can talk about that. Okay. So, in my experience, the more we are complete in our relationships with others, the more we can move through life with velocity. We don't carry resentments. We don't carry anger. We don't harbor hurt feelings, and we don't harbor upsets. So if I may, I just want to talk about parents for a couple of minutes, since you all have at least that relationship. So Krishna gave us all the perfect parents, right? How many of you believe that Krishna gave you the perfect parents? Yeah. If he didn't give you the parents you had, you wouldn't be here, right? Perfect parents. How many of you have a relationship with your parents that you would call, that you relate to one another, that you have a healthy relationship with your parents? Okay. How many of you feel like it's really hard for you to relate to your parents? It's like they don't understand me and I don't understand them. Okay. Maybe there's a little bit of that. Okay, we won't make you raise your hand if you feel that way. So what I'd like to say is that Krishna perfectly gave us our parents, and our parents are actually our first guru. And since none of you have ever had children, you don't know what it's like to be a parent. Like, being a parent means, like, you care so much about that child. You never want them to have upsets. You never want them to suffer. You never want them to, like, ever experience any pain, actually. That's how parents are. So when parents maybe see their sons going into the brahmacharya ashram, they may worry. How are they going to support themselves? What's going to happen when they get older? Who's going to take care of them? They may worry. And so they express these worries, but these worries seem like, to us, it's like, leave me alone. Why are you bothering me? This is what I'm choosing. Leave me alone. And we don't sometimes include our parents in our world at all. It's like, you're over there, you're doing your thing, you're maybe not really following being a devotee, and I'm over here, so leave me alone and I'm going to leave you alone, something like that. But I would say that kind of our parents have taught us how to relate in the world. So even the relationships you have between yourselves has something to do with your parents. Your parents have showed you how to relate or not relate. And so it's always a good thing to have a good, clean relationship with your parents and acknowledge your parents. Thank you so much for providing for me and supporting me and allowing me to even be in the brahmacharya ashram. It's always a really good thing to give that gratitude. In Christianity, one of the 10 commandments is honor thy father and mother. I know that in Indian tradition, honoring thy father and mother is important. Now, once you become a devotee, you don't have to do anything with your parents. But it is really, it is a good thing to honor thy father and thy mother. You have no idea what austerities they went through for you to just be alive. You have no idea how much they worked and slaved at jobs they may not have even liked. So it's just really a good thing to do that. And you know, in giving that gift to your parents, you're really kind of completing the relationship in a healthy way. In Bhagavad-Gita it says one should not, anyone who has a attachment or aversion, right? Attachment and aversion are actually both attachment. They're both a similar kind of a thing. So we want to have like a relationship with our parents that's complete. Like, I love you, I'm grateful to you, thank you so much, come to the temple, maybe sometimes I will come and visit you, and we honor one another, and we honor what we're doing. That's just one thing to think about. And I know it's challenging for brahmacharis, but thank you for bearing with me, because it does affect you. They have imprinted a lot in your life, and they're giving you permission to be here, and so a thank you is a good thing to say to parents. So then the other relationship I want to focus on would be identity, our relationship with ourself. So our relationship with ourself could include hopes and dreams. It could include experiences. You know, it could include a lot of the other things, our identity. So what are the things about ourselves and about our hopes and dreams that maybe we have some regrets about? So maybe you could write down one or two things that you feel that you haven't accomplished, and don't put down being a pure devotee, because none of us have accomplished that, and that's not an accomplishment. But maybe some disappointments you have in yourself, some regrets you maybe have about your own life, or some dreams you have that you haven't yet been able to fulfill. Just maybe write down a few things, if you would. A little. Just write a few things down. At least, this is a really hard seminar, isn't it? I'm sorry, this is like, I'm putting you through the ringer. You think this is hard? Wait till the time of death. You think this is hard? Seriously, you think this is hard? You think I'm joking? At the time of death, it's intense. It's intense. Think about your worst moment where you can't handle anything and you're like freaking out. Maybe you guys have never had any freakouts. Think about your worst experience. Most intense. Now times 100. I'll have to tell you, giving birth was so intense that at one point the person who was helping me told me to blow, and my brain was like, what does she mean? I didn't even know what she was talking about. That's how disoriented your head can get. When you're going through an intense situation, you know, your body, your soul is leaving your body. That only happens once in your lifetime. I mean, it's happened in many lifetimes, but it only happens once in this life. We don't even know what it feels like. I mean, I can't even tell a woman what it's like to give birth. I can't even describe it. You just can't, it's just so overwhelming. So leaving the body is quite challenging. It's overwhelming. You know, your mind is going crazy. Your heart maybe is beating really fast to try to survive. And you know, luckily, if you have somebody there that gives you a little morphine, maybe your heart rate will slow down. But I mean, I saw one devotee that was leaving his body, and he was like, he's freaking out. And so they gave him a little morphine, and then he could chant like, you know, a little. It's your body is, you're leaving your body, everything's shutting down. I can't breathe, everything feels uncomfortable. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's like, it's intense. So if you think this little exercise of naming a few regrets or unfulfilled dreams is difficult, you know, leaving the body is quite challenging. So it's really good to be mindful of these subtle things, because it's the subtle things that trip us up. You know, we can say, I'm not my body, I'm going to leave my body. Okay, we know we're not the body. We know we're not the body. But every day we're operating and listening to our mind and our ego and our identity. More than once a day we're doing that. It's consistent. This machinery is unforgiving. It's the material energy is so heavy. So if we take this time between now and when we leave our body to like be present and just really, you know, think about like, you know, what did I say, and do I have a regret, and you know, is there another way I could do something? What is my relationship? What am I identifying with right now? What am I so upset about? What am I attached to? Just asking ourselves those questions. In that moment we have that opportunity to let go of that attachment in that moment. If we can't let go of one little attachment at one moment of a part of our life, and we have trouble letting go of that one little tiny attachment, what happens when we have to let go of all the attachments simultaneously, instantaneously? What's going to happen? So this is what I'm trying to bring about, to bring a presence to you of what it means to really utilize this life to let go throughout this life, throughout your days, throughout the moments of your life. You know, what am I holding on to that I can let go of in this moment? What am I holding on to? And asking yourself that question again and again and again. What am I holding on to right now? I'm holding on to an idea about how this seminar is going to go and how you're going to receive it and if it's going to be fruitful or not. But can I let go of that? And I'm having a question, should I even do this seminar again? Because it seems like it's pretty intense, you know, and I did it for another little group and I was like, oh man. It was hard for me to kind of connect and get people present to what it is that I'm trying to get you present to. So I have to let go of that attachment for how it's even going to turn out. And can I let go of that attachment to how my seminar turns out? And maybe all of you are going to go and say, man, I hope she never gives a class again. Maybe you're going to say that. And can I live with that? Can I let go of what I think I'm trying to communicate and what I think that you should get or not get? Can I let go of that in this moment? Can I do that? Okay. So I'd like some feedback because I got a lot of stunned faces out here. And you know, if this is as far as we want to go with this seminar, it's fine with me, but I'd just really like some feedback, like, am I making you feel really uncomfortable? Am I, you know, are you not wanting to engage in this? I really need some honest feedback, and I don't care what you say. I don't care if you say this is, we were never taught this one, you know, we just taught chant Hare Krishna and it's going to all happen. So where did you come up with this? Is this your own idea? Is this, you know, whatever you need to say, are you guys willing to give me some feedback so that I may let go of my conceptions? Please. Whatever's there, really. Integrity is for you to just be honest with me. So I want to hear what you feel about what we're doing right now. Please.
Good. We are brainstorming.
You're brainstorming. I think maybe because I'm used to women, and usually women process by talking, but men really process by like thinking by themselves. So you're thinking about it. Okay, so that's good. So that helps me with that. Now, if anybody else has another opinion, it's fine. I'm open, but I want to hear what you have to say, really. It's important for me to hear the feedback, please.
It's practical also.
It's practical. Yeah, I try to give practical seminars. So yeah, it's practical. Yeah, we are all...
Not only talks, but there is practicality also.
Yeah, we are all going to die, and we are all living. Please.
Sorry, I joined quite late, Madam, came by train just now.
Okay.
But this exercise, recent exercise which you did, like thinking about our dreams and some things which we couldn't fulfill. When we think in terms of leaving the body, so the dreams not getting fulfilled, it becomes, the space becomes quite low in terms of when we think that when we will leave the body, what will happen. So that's a wonderful exercise to think of. We should not lament if something we are not able to achieve, because one day we are going to leave.
And you don't know when you're going to leave, and our dreams unfulfilled, depending what they are, is Krishna can fulfill our desires in another lifetime, but are we ready to let go of, I wanted to do it now, and I was almost there, I almost had it all done, and wait, I just need 2 more weeks, so it's good to think about those things. Thank you. Some more feedback. I just want to hear what's going on in your brains, please.
Showing us the reality. Showing us the reality.
Showing you the reality.
We are in the mental plane, thinking of the future and past. So once we have to face this, everyone has to face this moment.
That's a very good point. We're in the past and the future. Most of the time, we're in the past or we're in the future. Very rarely are we present. But when you're leaving your body, you're either going to be in the past, lamenting, you're going to be in the future, worrying about what's next, or you're going to be present. Krishna, 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 help me. Can we be that present when we're having an argument with one of our friends? Krishna, Krishna, help me be present, help me be Krishna conscious in this moment right now. Can we do that then? All the events, all the circumstances, all the experiences we're having in life right now, it's a practice. If I can't be present in a moment when there's a little upset because there's no prasadam left and I'm starving, and we can be upset temporarily, but at least if we realize, I'm upset about something little, you know, how hungry am I going to feel, and how thirsty and how cold am I going to feel when I leave my body? That's my big worry, because I really don't like to be cold, and I heard the temperature goes way high and then it goes way cold, and I'm like, what's going to happen when I'm cold? Am I going to think about how cold I am, or am I going to think about Krishna? So it's just things to think about. Please, please.
I have a question.
You have a question? Can I just get the feedback and then the question, or is the question about the feedback?
The question about the exercise.
Okay.
In the previous exercise, we discussed relation, friction or upsides in the relation. So, if there were upsets, and now we are, it's now okay. For us also and them also.
Okay.
And, we don't have any guilt.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
So is it?
You're complete. So completion. So death is a completion. It's the final completion. This lifetime, whatever I was going to accomplish, or whatever steps in Krishna consciousness I was going to take, that's all I'm going to get in this lifetime. It's a completion. So for me, the more I can complete things and tie them up in little packages and send them down the Ganges, the less I have to complete when I leave my body. I will have completed a lot of little things. If we leave a lot of little things open-ended, just like if you have projects and you just don't complete them, and then you have 20 projects that are piled up, and then you have 20 things that you've got to remember that you got to do because you didn't complete them, they really distract you and take your memory away. But if you've completed them all, then you just really have, okay, I just need to, this is the final completion, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So completion, completing upsets. If we have an upset with someone, then we've apologized, we've completed, we've put it in the past, we've sent it down the Ganges, it's all gone. It's finished. So, yes.
The current exercise, can you enumerate some of the hopes and desires specifically that may cause a feeling of disturbance?
Okay, can I get the feedback? If there's any more feedback from anybody, I know sometimes men don't express themselves as much, they would rather process it in their head, but go ahead.
The exercise that shows that I'm going to leave everything what I'm trying to acquire in this world.
You're trying to what?
What we generally invest our time in acquiring many other things, or we invest our time in the things that we know that we want to leave after the body. So we want to invest the time in those activities which will help us to make us our destination more better, or to make our journey after the death more.
So in this lifetime, we want to focus on those things and prioritize those things which will help us. Yeah, and that means a moment-by-moment thing. That means, that doesn't just mean completing projects, completing our 16 rounds, completing our obligations. It means completing the disturbances inside that we may have. Did anybody else want to give any feedback? Please.
I'm not able to connect a lot.
You're not able to connect.
And relate. Most probably, I'm not used to hearing such sessions.
Absolutely, and you're not quite able to connect. So the thing is, if you're not able to connect, connection with Krishna is a very real thing. It's not a mental imposition on the mind. Connecting with Krishna, in reality, is an important thing. So sometimes connecting with people in our life, connecting with feelings that we have, help us to develop our connecting muscles. Does that make any sense? Huh? A little bit. Okay. I appreciate your honesty. I really appreciate your honesty. So for me, I operated more like a man when I was a young devotee, and I did a lot of work and I did a lot of service. And so I was connecting with the services, and I was performing the services, and I was doing them all, but I wasn't connected with my family. I wasn't connected in relationships. I wasn't connected to my own feelings and my own needs, and I ended up to be really, really angry. So sometimes when we connect with something that's disturbing us in the moment and kind of work through it, we work through it and then it's gone. But if we don't work through it and we push it down, I know we're taught to tolerate, but there's a difference between tolerating and suppressing. When you kind of keep pushing things down and kind of like avoiding or ignoring or denying or pushing down, sometimes they all come up at once because they're not processed. So to me, the process of bhakti yoga, the process of our life, is a process of digesting the lessons that we're getting and fully digesting them, and then integrating that nutrition, that lesson, into our life and putting it into effect in how we relate and how we think of Krishna. Does that make sense? It's an integration, it's a digesting. So I've given you maybe more than you can digest at this point in time. I maybe should be doing more processed foods. But thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Does anybody else want to share anything before I address his other question? Okay, so hopes and desires. So we all have desires, and imagine all of you have a desire to be Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead in this lifetime. How many of you have that desire? Okay. So each and every opportunity that comes to us in life is sent by Krishna to help us to prepare for that. It's meant to teach us Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we might say a prayer like, we might pray for humility, right? And then all of a sudden, everybody starts treating us really mean, and like there's so many upsets that come to us, and we're just like, why are they being so mean? Why are they doing that? Why is that going on? And we don't realize it's Krishna answering our prayer. Seriously. I asked for humility, so he's humiliating me, but I'm pushing it away. So if we can't even integrate those little things that Krishna's sending us to fulfill the desires, the spiritual desires that we have, that we're asking for, we're missing out on a lot of life. When we see everything that happens to us in our life as a gift from Krishna, even if someone is treating us in an unfair way, and even if logically we can see that that's unfair and that doesn't make any sense, when we somehow take the lesson that's coming in that, wow, I must have been unfair to somebody in my last life. Okay, so wow, how this unfairness feels, you know, how this injustice feels. And then, like, you know, being able to like say, oh, I definitely want to make sure that I don't treat others in this way. Let me get that lesson that I don't want to be treated in this way. And then let me also be generous, and let me forgive this person that mistreated me. That would be like 5 lessons from one incident that you could get. The lesson of I'm getting a reaction for something I did in my past life. So it says in Bhagavad-Gita, for one who accepts the reactions, then he can go back to Godhead, because you're receiving them, you're accepting them. You're not pushing them away, you're learning from them. So there's that lesson. Then you're also able to like learn from it. I would never want to treat somebody else like that. Let me be more careful in the way, when do I do that? Have I ever done that to anybody? Oh, I can think of somebody right now that I treated like that. Can I go to that person and say, I'm sorry, now that it comes up in my consciousness that I treated them the way I'm being treated now? And can I forgive this person? Can I be generous and forgive this person, despite the fact that what they did was wrong? That would be like 5 lessons in one little thing. If we could do that and process like that in our life, how would that be if we could do that? How would that be if we could do that?
Amazing. We won't commit mistakes many times.
We would learn faster. It would be amazing. We would feel Krishna's mercy. We would feel like Krishna's actually sending this to me to help me. And we would get that lesson, and we would get that benefit. And then we could take the next step, and the next step, and the next step. Yes? It would be amazing. You would actually, oh, Krishna, really? You again? I didn't learn it yet? But you'd be having a relationship with Krishna. You'd be seeing it as Krishna, and you would be wanting to get the lesson. You would also almost even be joyful, like, no, really? But you would accept it, and you would take it instead of rejecting it and pushing it away. What else? If we could do that, if we could take instances like this as an opportunity to prepare for death, what would we get? How would it be for us? I'm making you think a lot. How you thought I was going to do all the work? Sorry. Can anybody else imagine how it might be? Or did I give you all the answers already? Huh?
What is the question?
The question, thank you. This is how we are in life. We miss the question, but at least he said he missed it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have even said that. He would have just pretended that he heard what I said, and he just wouldn't, right? So that's great. Not being pretentious. It's like such a great lesson to just say, what did you say? What was that? Just not being pretentious. What a relief. how light that is, how light that makes life. So I was saying, if we could take the little lessons in life that Krishna gives us and learn so many things on so many different levels, how would that be? So how would that be?
Very good.
It would be good. It would be like fun. We could actually have fun. It would be like real and dynamic. We would feel like each day and each moment there was some purpose. Okay, here's my lesson of the day. It wouldn't be like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over and over and again. I can't wait until the marathon's over or something. It would be a new, fresh day every day. And I'm not saying that you don't have new, fresh days every day, but you know, having each day as new and fresh, like it's alive and it's real. And so, does anybody else have an idea how that would be?
Question.
Okay. One pause. I'm going to answer your question. What is the greatest gift that death can give us? The gift that knowing that death is coming and preparing for death. What is the gift of death?
We don't have to accept this body again.
We don't have to accept this body again, okay.
Maybe we can see Krishna face to face.
Maybe we can see Krishna face to face.
Intensify our devotion to Krishna.
It can intensify our devotion to Krishna right now. Did you have your hand up? When we are fully prepared for death, we've looked at our fears. We continue to look at our fears when they come up. We continue to find out when we're pretending and admit that we're pretending. And you weren't pretending, you were just... But when we can admit our mistakes, when we can let go of our upsets, when we can do all these things, we can be fully alive. When we're ready to die, we can fully live. We can fully live. Can you all get that? Can you get what I mean by that? When we're ready to die, then we can actually fully live. If I'm ready to die, I'm ready to live. But mostly we're not really fully living. We're kind of like avoiding life and kind of time passing and, okay, I just can't wait to get out of this body, and when am I going to go back to Godhead, and we can't really even be here present with this circumstance. We're kind of just like, okay, I've been here 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, I'm doing this, I'm advancing, I'm doing all this stuff, but we're not really present to Krishna in our life each and every day. We're not present that Krishna's alive and real, and we're alive and real. We're like just trying to get somewhere. I'm going to try to get back to Godhead. The spiritual world is here when we have the eyes and the heart to see it. It's perception. Right now, we are in the spiritual world, and we're really getting present to how real Krishna is in our lives. He's so real, he's so alive, he's like watching us, he's helping us at every moment. How loving is Krishna? He forgives us all the time. We totally ignore him. What friend would like it, as much as, maybe not you, as much as I ignore him when I chant and he still loves me? What kind of that's a really good friend. So we can fully live when we're ready to die. That's the gift that death has to give. We can be fully invested in every moment of our life. Okay, can you tell me what time it is, please? 2:30? Okay, thank you. So question?
Mother, you told that every we will be learning many lessons in this frame of mind.
We can. There's always that opportunity.
My question is that when there are too many lessons to learn, then we don't learn anything.
It's true. Okay, Krishna, could you slow down a little bit? There's so many lessons, I can't integrate them all. But the thing is, see, when you get a lesson, then you complete. You know, I don't know if you guys ever play games. My grandsons play games sometimes on the computer. So you play a game and then you get level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right? So when you complete a level, you don't have to do the same thing over again, right? You go to the next level. So when you complete certain lessons, you know, they don't come back so often. But if you notice you keep getting the same lesson over and over again, it means there's something you didn't get about the lesson, you know. And when you keep getting the same lesson over and over again, it's like doing the same level over and over again. Oh yeah, I messed up there. And then you don't mess up the same way, but then you get to the end of the level and then, I hope this you can relate to this, only because my grandsons do these games. So it's like you learn certain ways to do the level, and then you get the final thing, and then you get to the next level. So it's like lessons repeat themselves because we're missing something. We don't see them. That's samsara. Samsara is coming back, repeating birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, because we didn't get something. Within our own life, there is some samsara that's going on. If you notice, certain repetitive things happen. I get always angry. I get stressed. I talk loud. I get tired. I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to deal with things. I want to avoid. I want to run away. I want to go to sleep. Whatever we do, those are just habits of what we do. But when we keep perpetuating the same habits, we keep getting the same results. And then sometimes we can get frustrated with ourselves. So say like we have a habit of procrastinating. So we have a habit of procrastinating. We procrastinate, people get angry at us, then we feel bad about ourselves that we're so, and it's like we perpetuate the same thing over and over again. So when we get our lessons and we complete our lessons, then we can take the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. And you know, our life is so deep and so rich. It's really rich. And when we can, you know, get in contact with the richness of relationships, we can begin to appreciate, you know, the richness of the process that we've been given. So, did I answer your question? Yeah.
I understood that the same lesson repeats until we learn it.
Yeah, and it may come back again, but then when it comes back, it's like, I know you, I know this lesson, I remember what happened before. Breathe, slow down, okay, don't react, it's okay, they're really upset, you don't have to take it personal, okay. And then you can respond in a different way. So it's practice, it helps to practice.
Another question.
Okay, and we're going to give other people some time for questions too. One more question from you. Go ahead.
We talked about forgiving. Forgiving is very difficult. Personally, when we are hurt or upset, we may forget over a period of time, and things may repair if we are living together. And but forgiving does not happen actually. So how to understand and practice, and is it necessary?
Yes. Forgiving is really, 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 really powerful way of completing things. So do any of you want to say anything about forgiving? What do you know about forgiving? I'm not the only one here who, you all know things. So what do you know about forgiving? Any of you know anything about forgiving? Please.
We had in a lecture, a very senior devotee, that a core quality of Vaishnava is forgiving.
Core quality of a Vaishnava is forgiving. Yes.
Vaishnava is known by how much he can forgive others.
Yes, a Vaishnava is known by how much he can forgive. You can see that. Lord Nityananda, please forgive Jagai and Madhai. Right? Lord Chaitanya didn't even want to forgive. But Nityananda said, we have to forgive him. If we can forgive the most fallen, then there's chance for everyone. Jesus Christ, he was on the cross, and they were doing all kinds of things and saying all kinds of things, and he said, Lord, forgive them. They're totally unconscious. They don't even know what they're doing or saying. Please don't, I'm not taking an offense. Please, you forgive them. So yes, forgiveness is really important.
It's easy to forgive a person who asks for it, but difficult to forgive who is not.
So that's like level 10 maybe, huh? So there are different levels of forgiveness.
Lord Jesus Christ and Nityananda.
Yes.
So Jagai was asking for forgiveness.
Yeah.
But in the case of Jesus Christ, they were not. So means what is the?
How can we forgive when someone doesn't ask for it? Does anybody have any idea? How can we forgive when people don't ask for it? Or any other ideas you have about forgiveness? After he raised his hand, didn't somebody else raise their hand? Go ahead.
That's one of way I contemplate that other people's actions are not cause of my feelings.
Okay.
It has got something related to me itself. Oftentimes it is challenging to look within. But whenever I do that, it seems that it's empowering. I'm not giving my power to others how to control me, but to retaining that power with myself, how I wish to respond from a different place. It's a practice, I know.
It's a good point. When you say, someone hurt me, they did what they did, and you're the one who's feeling hurt. Somebody else might not feel hurt. So you're feeling hurt. So you have feelings. You're entitled to feel hurt. But you saying that they caused your hurt doesn't give you much space to forgive them. You're hurting me. You hurt me. So when we suppress hurt and we don't forgive, what's the next emotion that comes on top of hurt? Anybody know?
Revenge.
Anger, revenge. Yep, anger and then revenge. So yeah, you want to catch it at the first stage because anger is a little bit more attached and revenge is quite a bit more attached. So when you catch it in the hurt stage, I'm hurting. I didn't expect that devotee to treat me like that. That really hurt my feelings. Well, you're acknowledging that you have feelings. Great. You're a sentient being. You have feelings. Okay. You could start to examine what is it that I need or what did I expect from them that I didn't get that had me feeling hurt. What do I need? Something in you. Spiritual life, Krishna consciousness is all about us and our perception. All this stuff that's going on out here, it's all the phantasmagoria. Krishna's arranging all these things for me to be purified. And he's using all these parts and parcels as instruments of my karma, instruments of my lessons, instruments of my training and development in spiritual life. And I'm angry at them because they're trying to train me and you're trying to train me. And I'm upset. I'm the one who's upset. I don't want to learn. I don't want to learn that way. I didn't want that lesson. Can't you just give it to me a little easier? Why do you have to do it that way? Krishna knows what's perfect and best. When you go through an experience where you feel hurt, you know what it feels like to feel hurt, then the tendency to hurt others is lessened. So thank you, whoever hurt me, for teaching me what it feels like to hurt. Please Krishna, knowingly and unknowingly, how many people have I hurt? We hurt people all the time unknowingly. I may have said something that hurt you, I don't know, maybe I did. Maybe when we did the thing and everybody was laughing, maybe you felt hurt. I'm just saying, we don't know. I don't know, right? And maybe the person doesn't even know that they hurt you. They don't even know that you're hurting. Maybe you could say, you know, when you said you didn't like the way I sang that kirtan, you know, I felt sad because I was really trying to please you, or please the devotees, or please Krishna. Oh, I was just joking, it wasn't a big deal. Whatever. Does that make a little sense to you? A little bit? Okay. So now I want to kind of bring this session to, you know, some resolution and some completion. So I want to know if there's any questions any of you have about what we did and the exercises we did and why we did them and what the heck am I sitting up here in front of you? Who am I to sit in front of you guys, and what do I know? But if there's any questions, or you know, like that you have about what I said, if you detected anything which seems to be in contradiction to what you know or what you've been taught or what you learned, and you want to talk about it, please raise your hand. I really like to hear from you. It's really nice to interact and relate, and I don't want to be pushy about it. Does anybody want to share anything? Any questions? Okay, so now, do you have a question?
If you could say something about unfulfilled dreams and aspirations.
Okay.
And spiritual life, oftentimes I read and hear that the dream and aspiration of a disciple is to fulfill the dream and aspiration of his guru.
Okay, that's good. So dreams and aspirations. So I would say that it seems to me that a lot of my God brothers, and it seems that sometimes they're feeling unfulfilled, like they didn't fulfill Srila Prabhupada's mission. Like they were given certain instructions, and now they're getting close to the end of their life, and they feel like, you know, maybe they didn't complete, you know, what they should have done or what they thought they should have done. And it creates a lot of frustration for them, and feelings of, you know, disappointment, and then maybe even depression, that they feel like they didn't fulfill on their guru's mission. So an unfulfilled dream or mission within a certain time frame, if we think that a dream or mission is to be fulfilled within a certain time frame or in a certain way, we have a lot of expectations about what it should look like, there might be disappointment and depression and regret and guilt. Now, as far as I understand, Krishna doesn't want us to feel ashamed. There's a difference between remorse and regret. So when we make a mistake and we find the mistake and we remorse the mistake and we apologize for the mistake, that's a proper way of processing and remorsing. When we regret, or we regret our life, or we regret that we didn't do it the way it should have been done, we're torn apart inside, and there's no completion. So we can only do our best. We can only do our very best. We really can't control the results. Doesn't Bhagavad-gita say you're entitled to to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the results. Doesn't it say that? Yeah. So an attachment to a result isn't just, you know, it's like what it's going to look like, how I'm going to feel when it happens. Attachment to that result, that expectation of what it should look like, would be what you might say is an unfulfilled dream. But when we perform our duty and we say, Krishna, I'm just here doing my best, I'm doing what you showed me to do, and this is only one lifetime. You know, if you want me to come back and there's things that I didn't fulfill and you want me to fulfill them and you want me to come back to fulfill them, let that happen. So when we see it in a certain time frame, then we have an expectation and then we have a regret. But when I have so many things that I'd like to do for Krishna, and I'm really glad that I'm eternal because I don't have to do them all in one lifetime. And if I had to do them all in one lifetime, I'd be really stressed out. But we're eternal. We have an eternal relationship with Krishna. So we have eternal opportunities to serve in so many ways. And when things don't turn out the way we expect them to, maybe that's because there was something we needed to learn, like letting go of the results. So preparing, and if we can't let go of little results right now, what's going to happen at the time of death when all those results that we thought we should have done didn't get done? We're not going to be able to let go of them. We're going to be beating ourselves up, and that might mean we might have to come back to fulfill those. But if we're like, I'm complete, I did my best, the rest is up to you. Prabhupada left, his mission wasn't complete. And the movement's never complete, and devotional service is never fully complete. But I did my best, I did my part, I did my commitment. Does that answer your question? Okay, so one more question I'm going to ask you, and I'm sorry, I made you work so hard. Please.
Digesting the lessons given by Krishna.
What was the first word?
Digesting.
Digesting the lessons that Krishna's sending us. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It makes life exciting because Krishna's sending me a lesson. It's from Krishna. It's not this person being in Maya. It's Krishna. Yeah, it makes it fun. Yes?
The aspect which you touched about the gift before the death, what we have, it means accepting the reversals in the life in a very positive frame of mind. Seeing the personal hand of Krishna in that, what he wants to teach us,
yes,
what lessons he has brought to us.
Yeah.
Every day would be a good day to just take up in that spirit.
Yeah, in that spirit, and we can fully live. We can live. Please.
Completeness in my relationship with others.
Completeness in my relationship with others. And that is an ongoing thing because you're complete, and then you have another exchange, and then there may be some more in completion, and then you complete that, and just keep being complete. And the more complete you are, it's like you've cleared like a backload of stuff, and it doesn't bother you. And why have you done this? Look, and then you walk in the room, and you can't look at him. Okay, I have to pretend he's not there. It's all gone. Such a relief. Such a lightness is there. Yeah, nice. Thank you. Yeah? One thing.
Prepare for final exam.
Yes, we're preparing for the final exam. So we have a lot of little quizzes and exams and tests to take. Thank you very much. Please.
We're going to see death from a different angle.
You got to see death from a different angle of vision.
You've been able to analyze what all things you may have to deal with.
Yeah.
And same things, how I can also, in my daily life, think that how a particular thing is going to affect me at the time of death.
Exactly.
Right now.
Yes, and you put it in perspective, and then it seems much more insignificant or significant. depending on what it is. Insignificant if it's some material exchange, significant if it's chanting the holy name. So it puts things in proper proportion. Nice, nice.
When I'm prepared to die, then at that point I'm living fully.
When I'm prepared to die, at that point I'm living fully. Yes, please.
Seeing Krishna reciprocation and mercy in every situation.
Seeing Krishna's reciprocation and mercy in every situation. It's exciting. It really is. It's like, wow, I can have an exchange with Krishna like all day long. Exciting. Please?
Remembering death is a powerful tool to remember Krishna.
Remembering death is a powerful tool to remembering Krishna. Absolutely. And I didn't say it like that, but that is it, for sure. So...
Your whole lecture is Krishna conscious. It's about death, but it was Krishna conscious.
It is. It is. And Krishna says, I am death, right? And I am time. So are we taking the time that Krishna is giving us to prepare for meeting Krishna at death? Yeah, Krishna is always there. Are we seeing him? Or are we missing him? Missing the point. So did you want to share what you got? You have a question?
No.
Okay.
The question is that forgiveness part.
Wait, one minute. Before you leave, before you escape, I knew you were going to escape. So please, one thing, I know it was really intense, and I know I really challenged you, but I just want to ask you just one thing that you got, please. And thank you for, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you, but thank you.
It was good, Papaji. Whatever you talked about death and what gives lesson before experiencing death, remembering Krishna, seeing face-to-face Krishna. We can read also Bhagavatam.
Absolutely, you can, but you're also living Bhagavatam in your own life. Like, you can read Bhagavatam, but you're living, your life is your Leela with Krishna. Does that make sense? Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you. You're excused. and please, last but not least.
You told that forgiving others has to do with my own self. I have to work on myself.
And about forgiveness. Thank you. Sometimes it's hard to forgive others because there's some person that's even harder to forgive than others. Who would that be? Ourself, our own self. So when we can see all those things that we do that are less than Krishna conscious, sometimes those little, how we cut corners and we cheat a little bit, or we're a little nasty, or we avoid things, or we hide when we know somebody's looking for us, or whatever we do. I'm just making all that up. It's easy enough to point it out in others. Oh yeah, look what he's doing, look what he's doing, how can he do that? Look at them, look at the karmis, blah, 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 blah. But when we see our own mind being distracted and on the internet, and oh my gosh, what am I doing over on this site here, and what am I doing over here, and oh my God, I just spent a whole hour and researching something that had nothing to do with what I needed to research. It was interesting, but it didn't have anything to do with what I was really researching. When we see those things in ourselves, anybody else we can see them in, right, and we can point out clearly how wrong that is. But when we see it in ourselves, how does it feel? Do you know how it feels when you see those things inside of yourself that are less than what you'd like to see? How does it feel? Disgusting. It's disgusting. It's intolerable. Ew, I don't want to be that way, and why did I do that, and how could I do that, and how could I think that, and what's wrong with me? It's intolerable almost. But when we can be with our own humanity, be with the machine of the mind, and all those thoughts that continually flow in and out of our mind that are crazy, and how could I think that? And let them go in the moment. Not be even attached to those thoughts that just pass through. And forgive ourselves for coming to this material world and being affected by the material modes. When we can forgive ourselves, when we see another person doing something, we say, oh, I've done that. I forgive myself. I should be able to forgive him. When you can forgive yourself, you can forgive anybody. Because we all have done, do, sometimes continue to do things that are mechanical and habitual, conditioned habits. And when we can forgive ourselves for our humanity and for our little mistakes, we can forgive anybody. Thank you. Are you leaving? So, you have a question? You have a question? Yes?
It's good to forgive myself or bad for my mistakes.
Yeah, what you want to do is when you find that you made some mistake or upset somebody or hurt somebody's feelings or forgot something, first of all, when you admit that, that's a victory over the ego, because the ego is going to give you all kinds of excuses not to say anything. Oh, it wasn't that big of a deal, so what? He did that to you 20 times, who cares, blah, 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 blah. So when you admit your mistake, when you admit it, you have a victory over the ego, so you're giving your soul power and you're diminishing the power of your ego. That's one thing. So you admit, and then you maybe become a little present to how maybe you affected the other person, maybe you hurt them. So you remorse. I'm sorry, I lost my temper and I treated you in a way which is less than Vaishnava, and I don't want to continue that behavior. It's not who I really am. It doesn't honor me and it doesn't honor you, and I'm really sorry. And if you see me behaving in that way again, please point it out to me, because I really want to work on this. So that's remorsing, asking for forgiveness, and setting yourself up to get feedback. Because those around us can see when we're doing stuff sometimes more than we can see it. Sukhavaha, you're getting a little pushy, you're getting too hyper, breathe. Oh yeah, right. Okay. And I can just let it go in that moment, because I have friends who would tell me to calm down. So, does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Forgiveness, it's different stages. Admitting, remorsing, understanding that I had an impact on another person, asking for forgiveness, forgiving ourselves. I made a mistake. This life is full of mistakes. That's how we learn. When a little 2-year-old, a 1-year-old is just learning how to walk, they fall down all the time, right? If the mother were to say, "You're such a fallen child, look at you, you can't even stand up straight, you're wobbling all over, what's wrong with you?" Criticizing the child, and the child starts crying. "What are you crying about? Get up." A child may never want to walk. It's like, this is like a trauma. But we do that to ourselves, and we do that to others, and we do that in our spiritual life when we fall down. We're learning how to walk. We're learning how to reconnect with who we are. And we're so mean to ourselves. We're really mean and harsh. And then when we're mean and harsh to ourselves, we can only handle so much meanness and harshness, and then we share that with our friends, because we can't take so much more, so it starts coming out of our mouth on our friends. And then we have more reasons to beat ourselves up and feel so horrible and shameful. So yeah, the process of admitting, remorsing, accepting, forgiving ourselves, asking for forgiveness, it really gives power to the soul, and it really diminishes the power of the ego. The ego's the only thing that doesn't want, the ego wants to be right. It doesn't want to admit that it was wrong. So every time you can admit something, the power of your ego, psh, the air of that big balloon comes out, and it kind of shrivels up a little bit more. It's illusory, but we give it power, and then it has power.